Yeah.
So, Attarde Foundation, based in US, is very happy and excited, uh, feeling very proud to host this webinar because our today's guest, Dr. Dynandeo Chopade, he is very special. He is very close friend of mine. Uh, his name, like Nandeo himself, is a true justification to his name. Is all his work and his education and his dedication. So he, even though his introduction is too big, I'll still quickly read out in quick short note. Uh, he is an MBBS, MS, PhD in medical genetics. He is a PGC in the reproductive and child health. BJ is mass communication and journalism, and is a postgraduate in journalism and mass communication. He is also a founder and director of Museum Koham. Museum Koham is a unique and state-of-art museum which was created, designed, and established by Dr. Dynandeo Chopade in Nasik and in year 2011. The museum presents the scientific concept of human existence from birth to death using three-dimensional model. Uh, and I will strongly recommend everyone, if you guys are traveling, anyone traveling in in India, or those who are based in India, few people, if they are in,
Can you share us screen?
should must visit this museum. Exceptionally well designed. Dr. Chopra is also is a director of Genetic Health and Research Center. GHRC is the genetic healthcare center providing counseling, diagnostic, and prenatal genetic healthcare services in the state of Maharashtra for last 17 years. He is also a director on Medical Education and Research Foundation. MERF is committed for the production of medical educational models for medical students, colleges, and schools for making real and virtual teaching learning easy and interesting. He is also founder and president of a Down Syndrome Care Association. DSCA, Down Care Syndrome Association, is the NGO committed for the empowerment of the individuals with Down syndrome and their families. Currently, 300 families are supported through this activity, and I have seen it, and he is doing absolutely amazing work. He is a true inspiration for the society. He is also secretary of Indian Society for Training and Development. He is an author of two books for medical students and two for the public. He has 11 research publications in the area of genetics in the national and international journals. And some
But
of
screen is not visible.
he has some noteworthy awards such as Doctor of a Millennium Puraskar in 2002, National Medical Award, Medical Excellence Award from Bajaj Discover Positive Healthcare, Dr. Suresh Nadkarni Memorial Award by Maharashtra State, Dr. Vasantrao Gupte Memorial Award by Indian Medical Association, Social Service Award by Rotary Club, Purush Singha Puraskar by Lions Club International Award for Excellence in Medical Genetics, and Leva Icon Puraskar. So Dr. Chopade is such a great, versatile speaker and personality with us. I feel very proud to be his friend, and he's like a true inspiration. And thanks, doctor, for taking time. Today you are showing the symptoms of virus, and you are isolated in the hotel, but still you are taking a time for this lecture. So we are absolutely thankful for you. Thanks. Now it's all yours.
Thanks, Pramod. Thank you so much. So, yeah. Hello and welcome, everyone. As Pramod has introduced me, so I need not introduce myself. I really want to see you all once on the videos. I really want to get connected first.
That may kill the bandwidth or something, but yeah, definitely we'll try to put for some time.
At least, and then at the end we can get that done. Yeah. Now I really feel being in a hall and I'm communicating with people, real people there at the end. Though sitting all over the world in different regions, I feel they are in my room in the hotel and I'm talking to them. Thank you so much for being in there. Yeah. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever applies to you. At the outset, I would really like to thank Pramod for giving such a wonderful introduction. Attarde Foundation, the foundation which is organizing this webinar and so many other webinars, doing tremendous social work in villages of Maharashtra and in US also. I really want to thank the foundation and the people working in the foundation, the organizers, especially Pramod for taking on this responsibility of creating awareness in people on various issues. I know Pramod, someone who is really having a great vision, someone who can predict what is going to happen in the world of economy, in the world of tokenization. I'm deeply inspired by what he is doing. So fast he is moving in entrepreneurship, and I really see him someone who is going to be in a hierarchy of political structure.
No.
That is my perception. That whatever is yours, I don't know. That's my perception, and I really want to see that way. Yeah. With that brief, I really want to welcome you for this talk on you and your genes. That you all are here, that tells me you are interested in the topic. And I would have been surprised if you were not interested, really. If you really look at the title, you and your genes, I don't know what comes to your mind, but there must be something that is coming in. It's not a kind of a spiritual talk. It's not the inquiry into the spiritual or the soul or that kind of thing. Let me come to that subsequently. So before I begin with the topic, once again, I want to thank you. I want to acknowledge you for being in here, giving me this opportunity. And in the next 40 minutes, I'll be talking on this topic. And in the last 20 minutes, we'll have interaction. And I would definitely love to have that kind of interaction. Maybe I'll speak less and then we can have more interaction. And I'm sure that you are going to have a number of questions. I'll try to make this time valuable for you. So thank you. Now let me begin, and I'll share my slides. Yeah. So I think I'm audible well.
Yeah.
I'm clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. You can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you. So here what you see is the title, You and Your Genes. Let me come to the title first. Okay. Now, yeah. So the title says You and Your Genes. So the questions we are going to answer in this is, you is who and your genes are what? And is there any connection? So it's very simple, right? You means you know who you are. And exactly that is what I'm talking. You refers to what you say who you are when I ask you who are you. And not that you, which we have been investigating for thousands and thousands of years from a spiritual perspective. We are talking that you, which is made up of the flesh, the structure, the function, the one which exists between the beginning and the end, the one which has got the body, the mind, the emotions, feelings, thoughts, intellect, ego, all that. So body, mind, ego, and intellect complex is what we're talking about. Those of you who are already there in the spiritual journey must be knowing that we try to segregate out what the Purusha and the Prakriti from the Patanjali Yoga Shastra. If you have that some philosophical background, actually getting enlightened is differentiating and distinguishing and then differentiating these two things. So let me come to that again, because the title itself says so many things. So here, when I am referring to you, what I am referring to is all that prakritic part, the one which is made up of the matter, the structure that you are. The feelings, emotions, sensations, thoughts, memories.
तुमचा आवाज येत नाही आम्हाला.
येत नाही का?
येतोय
हॅलो,
येतोय. इट्स क्लिअर डॉक्टर.
कोण बोललाय? आरती? हॅलो.
येतोय, मला पण येतोय.
येतोय क्लिअर आहे.
ओके ओके ओके. ज्यांना येत नाही तुम्ही तुमचं नेटवर्क चेक करून बघा. ओके. So we are talking of that you which is having this body, mind, ego and intellect complex, the one which is existing on this planet, from the beginning, from conception in the swarm, from that moment till death, the one which keeps on transforming moment to moment. We are talking of that you. To differentiate this for now, let us imagine or let us do the experimentation that you are sitting in the chair. We are talking of that person who is sitting there in the chair. So if you just relax for a while, close your eyes, and then observe from the roof of your room, from the top of the room, the person sitting in the chair, the structure made up of the sensations happening there, the thoughts coming in and going out, with all the memories coming in and going out. We are talking of that person which is sitting here in the chair, not of the one which is observing from the top. This is something which is very critical, because we are talking of something where it is written how this structure sitting in the chair exists, why it exists the way it exists. And not of that person who can observe this structure, the real you. So distinguishing that is the first part of my talk. The pure consciousness or soul, or whatever we call that in spiritual language, today's topic is not about that. There is definitely a question, is that somehow related to the genes and the script written and the structure that you are? That those are definitely the questions to be answered. We can definitely do that subsequently if I have some opportunity later. But here in this lecture, I'm going to talk only about the one who is sitting here in the chair. So you, the one who is sitting in the chair, the structure and the function, and your genes. So the next part of the talk is, what are they? Where do they come from? How do they look like? What is their structure? Are they responsible for who you are and the everything that happens between the two moments, beginning and end? Are they responsible for everything? Is that the destiny? Do we really have something to do? If they are there, responsible for everything, do we have anything to do? Do we have the free will? These are the questions. Where do they come from? What are they? So we're talking of you and your genes, and is there any connection? That's the topic I'm going to talk about. And the little background is this. Now let me reduce my screen a little so that I can get the complete view. Okay, yeah. Now what you see on this slide is, hello?
Yes.
I'm getting going. I don't know. Okay. So what you see
Dr.
on this,
Chopade, you have got echo. You have another.
yeah, no,
Probably
no,
you have another instrument which is also working.
no instrument is
There
working.
is an
Right?
echo. So
Yeah,
okay, fine.
okay. I'm just trying to look at. Just give me a moment, please. I don't know. Hello, am I still echoing?
No, you're good now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's still again sometimes. It will...
Okay. So for thousands of years, we have been investigating the mysteries of our existence. Where did I come from? And where I have to go? Right? What is my past and what is my future? Is there something I can do here in the present if I come to know what was there in my past and what is going to happen there in my future? Who is my father and who is my mother if I am lost? Whether I'll be able to father or mother a child. Where did my ancestors come from? Where are my descendants likely to go? Am I at risk of some diseases? Do I carry some diseases? Do I have some diseases already and I don't know? How long am I going to live? Can I live that long? I really want to live. These are the questions. We have been investigating these questions for thousands and thousands of years through different approaches. We did that spiritually. Our rishis and munis did that. And they have their way. And that is what spirituality is all about. And our scientists have been doing this for the last few centuries. And their approach is biological and scientific. They are trying to find out where it is written. And we are talking of that. We are talking of you. We are talking about who you are and why you are the way you are, and all about your existence in few minutes. Let us look at this. We have questions, right? If you just look at the people around you, you will find there are people who amaze you, and they have amazed us. Like the master blaster Sachin Tendulkar. How can he be the only person so powerful and who ruled the world of cricket or sport? Or it's not only sport or cricket, it's something which he ruled the world. Shivaji Maharaj, the one who ruled, right? Einstein, who ruled. People who have got the abilities to one extreme, and we just look at them and we are amazed. Beauty, balance, intelligence, power, skill. We're talking of the potentials. How come same time, same age, same experience, same training, and has it to do with what you have inherited? Has it to do with what is written? That is what we are looking at. How come there is someone on this planet who looks so ugly that you can't spend even minutes, and there is someone with whom you want to live? There are millions and billions of people who want to have, you can say, the togetherness for a few minutes. How can someone who can just look at the world and guess how it works, so intelligent, so wise, how can that be? How can that be someone who is willing to die any moment for others? So much of courage, so much of intelligence, so much of skill, so much of beauty. How? How come some people are born with no hair on the body and some people are born with hair everywhere? How come someone is so tall and someone is so short? How come someone is born with such a huge body and someone with a so small, tiny, wasted body? How come? How come someone gets aged by the age of 10 and looks like 100? With all sorts of diseases, hypertension, blood pressure, diabetes, and all that at the age of 10? How come someone at the age of 80 looks so young, enthusiastic, energetic, with all the abilities a 20-year can have? Has it something to do with something that we're talking? How come some people are getting infected? Not all. How come those who are getting infected, some of them only express severe diseases, even the young ones, and others even don't have even a little of the signs and symptoms? Has it to do something with the script? We are talking of that. We are talking of your genes and you. So has it all to do with something we're talking today? And the answer is yes. That has to do with your genes that you have inherited. So the questions really to be answered here in the talk are: what is the gene? What are the genes? Where do they come from? And how do your genes make you who you are? Let us look at this basic background so that we get a clear-cut idea about. So if you really want to look at what a gene is, what is the structure of DNA, you can get the whole of the knowledge around the internet. But then to make it real for you as an individual existing, let us have this background and let us have this context. What do you see on this slide? So what you see is here vast universe, right? And science has, so we all here, because we are on the net, we are on the online talk now, we all are exposed to this. And we know this is not something imaginary now. This is something we say is real in the world of science. It is so vast, the universe is so vast. We can't even imagine how big it is. And whatever science has revealed so far is again ungraspable. It is so big, so huge. There are millions and billions of galaxies and their clusters. Each galaxy, you can't imagine how big is that, end to end. How many stars and how many planets. Our own solar system, how vast it is, we can't imagine with this mind. Though we write the numbers, we can't imagine the distances. And we are living on a so small, tiny dust particle in this universe. We can't even call it as a particle of dust because we really don't know whether it is how big that sky is and how small our planet is. On this planet, we are existing. But science has also told us, wherever you go in this universe, whether you are on the planet, Earth, space, moon, sun, or galaxy, or anywhere, whatever you take, whether you take the air or space or water or matter or your body or on the planet Earth, any living matter, you crush it and analyze it, and you see it is made up of only the atom. That's the reality, physical reality we know. We know in the whole universe that we know so far, these atoms only on the planet Earth are arranged in a very specific way so as to make the structure that you are. It's only on this planet Earth. There are atoms around, right? Carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, different kinds of atoms. If you look at that chart of elements, there are some about 113 or 18, some number of elements are there. And that is what we know. There are so many such different kinds of atoms existing in the universe. But arranging those atoms in a structure which is moving, transforming moment to moment, speaking like you and me, is happening only on this planet. This impermanent atomic assembly, when it begins at conception and is merging with the surrounding at death, in between, getting transformed moment by moment, keeping you human, this is possible only on this planet Earth, is what we know so far. And that is possible only because of the extraordinary molecule of DNA. We are talking of that. If you just stop for a while and think about it, just let it sink in. This is such a big, such a huge fact. You know what was the biggest discovery in the last century? The biggest discovery in the last century was the discovery of DNA. We came to know about the language nature has used to write life on this planet. In the year 2003, for the first time, we came to know about the book of life of humans. Human genome, we call it. We are living in the world which is so beautiful. We are living in the world where there is a lot of technology, where we are communicating, sitting at thousands and thousands of kilometers away, looking into each other's eyes and hearing one another, talking of genes, talking of the language of your life, talking of what is written there and talking of what can we do with that. We are existing on this planet at this moment is the biggest thing to be celebrated. We all, nearly all who are there on this call have experienced this and are experiencing this. We must be really thankful to nature for giving us birth in this part of the universe. You know, so far on this planet, more than 100 billion people have lived. Since a monkey is said to become a human, since then more than 100 billion have lived. And right now there are more than 7 billion. And you are one of them. Life so far was not that easy, right? Few thousand years ago, it was like people were living in the jungles, were unable to talk to one another because they were not unable to communicate. सगळ्या जर गोष्टी आपण बघितल्या, I'm sorry for Marathi. But then if you just look at that a little back, you will see that you are so lucky and you are existing right now and you are experiencing what was there and what is now and what is going to happen subsequently. And the major part of this that you are going to experience subsequently is going to be from what we're talking, jinns. So far, we have experienced telecommunication, electronics. We have experienced changes there in biotechnology a lot. But the changes which are going to happen subsequently are going to have a major role of this, what we are talking of, your jinns. And you can't expect to, you can't escape actually from knowing what my jinns are. We all know this, right? Have we ever stopped and thought? Just the link, right? It has been moving from that single cell on this planet from the last 4 billion years. It has been moving, traveling from one step to the next, single cell to multicellular, fish like, frog like, reptile like, mammal like, monkey like, human like, you like. And now what next? What is the next to you? In this you, of the 100 billion people so far lived, you are so unique, never to be repeated again. इसके पहले कभी नहीं हुए थे. There was no one like you earlier. There is no one else on this planet right now like you. And no one is going to be there on this planet after you. So unique you are, that unique creation. And this unique creation happened on this planet at this moment after billions and billions of years. And the life traveled this way. And this travel is written in that script. We are talking of that. Let us have a look at this. Can you just so this video is so beautiful, but then it is about 15 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole of it. I'm going to just give you some glimpse of the. This is about how the journey begins, right? So how you started your journey. So there was a moment on this planet when one of the sperm met with one of the egg and the creation started, which was not existing earlier. So tiny, about 100 to 150 micrometer in diameter, so small, can't see with naked eye. That small, you started your journey. And this is the video about that. And how that single tiny cell got transformed into the multi-trillion cell structure that you are right now sitting in your chair. We are talking of that script where it is written, how this got transformed into who you are and how this keeps on transforming till you die, moment to moment. That script. Let us look at this video and have some glimpse of what it says. So what you see here is this video is showing about copulation has happened. There is semen deposited. You can see here millions of sperms inside the female genital tract. Millions of them are there. And only one of this is going to reach the site of fertilization. So tiny these are. And the distance they have to travel till it fertilizes the egg is huge actually. They are traveling. They are in a race. Of the millions of them, only one is going to get a chance. Sorry, what happened? Okay. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So, can you see this, Pramod?
Yeah, we can see this.
So this video, most of you might have seen earlier, but then look at it from a different perspective. It's about you and me and every one of us. Of the millions of them, you can see how fast they are running in that space of the maternal, the woman's womb. And of these millions, only one is going to reach there. You can see how they are traveling. And only one is going to fertilize. You can see here the egg, how big it is and how small the sperms are. They are trying to enter in. Only one of it will be able. And you can see here the sperms on the outside of the egg. This egg is said to be about thousands and thousands of times bigger than the sperm. And here it is, one of the sperm has succeeded in penetrating it. And this is how it happened, boss. This is how it happened. This is how you started the journey. Yeah. This is how I started the journey. One book from father, other book from mother. So 2 books of life where everything was written. The egg and the sperm where everything was written inside. Let us have a look at subsequent changes in a very fast. Yeah. You can see here this genetic material being delivered, mixing and separating immediately so that one cell is dividing into 2. This is it. This is how it started. That small tiny single cell within 24 hours got divided into 2. One cell got divided into 2. And then these 2 will get divided into 4. 4 into 8. This way, these so small cells, from a single, they become thousands and thousands, billions and billions and trillions, and they get arranged in a very specific way to make a tiny human being within 2 months. And you can see that here. Say this, how it moves from that mother's uterine tube to the mother's uterus inside. It will get implanted and it will form a baby. Now here you're getting attached and a tiny baby is being formed. You can see here the baby being formed. देखो कैसे दिखता है. It looks like a tadpole, and then it looks like fish. It has got gills like structures. It looks like tadpole and fish, and then frog, and then see it is getting transformed. The cells are being formed of different tissues and organs. You can see the heart beating. On day 60, it is a small tiny human being. You can see here little hands and legs, and you can see the head being formed. You can see how it looks like. So it looks like a reptile. Then it looks like the mammal, it looks like the monkey, and then it looks like the human, and it looks like you. So I will stop. This is who you are. And then you are born. And then moment to moment, since then it is happening. You are not aware of that, but then it's happening. Millions and millions of cells every moment are dying within, and you are being formed. And they are getting arranged in a very specific way so that you keep changing the impermanent assemblies there. So imagine 2 books, one from mother, other from father. There are 23 chapters each. So you can see here, these are the chromosomes arranged in 23 pairs. In each pair, one from mother, other from father. This way, there are 23 chromosomes from mother and 23 from father. And the last pair you can see here is X and Y. This is in case of a male. In case of female, instead of XY, there are 2 X chromosomes. There is no Y in case of female. So these 23, consider these are chapters. They're in the books of life, egg and sperm. And in each chapter, there are thousands of pages. Total pages are what we say today are 21,300. The sizes are different. And on each page, there is a very specific message or instruction written about the structure you need to be, the function you have to exhibit, the potentials that you are having, and everything about from that moment, beginning to end. We are talking of you as the assembly of atoms, how that assembly has to happen. Imagine again, this DNA structure that you got through these vehicles, egg and sperm from your parents, has got all the instructions written as to how to get the atoms from the surrounding. The surrounding in the beginning is from the mother's womb. These atoms, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, whatever, arrange them in a very specific way to make the molecules, and arrange the molecules in the form of the structures called as cells. Cells in the form of tissues, and then organs, and then systems, and then you. Changing moment by moment. It includes each and everything about who you are as an individual from beginning to end, whether you are going to be a boy or a girl, what is going to be your height like, what is going to be your color like, how many hair you are going to have on your body at what time, at what age you are going to become a man if you are a boy, and at what age you are going to become a woman if you are a girl, at what age you are going to age, what part of your head will have how many hairs. What I'm trying to actually tell you is everything is written on this. And let me tell you, so if everything is written on that, then is the rest of the science that we're talking about, the environment, is wasted and useless? No. We are going to come to that subsequently. But let me tell you the basic fundamental. The basic fundamental is that here in this script itself that you got at the beginning, here itself it was written for you to express as a human being who you are sitting in the chair at this moment. There was supposed to be, or you were supposed to get a supply of the atoms in a very specific way, moment to moment, from that till this. रोज कितना नमक चाहिए खाने में, कितना कार्बोहाइड्रेट चाहिए, प्रोटीन चाहिए, कितना विटामिन चाहिए, कितना जिंक चाहिए, ये सब कुछ उसमें लिखा हुआ था. थोड़ा सा निकाल के देखो क्या होता है, पता चलेगा. What I mean to say is, for that evolution to happen, there was evolution, there was an egg there where it was written. And it is only because of that script, you could be who you are, but then you could have been different again had it been not according to the script. आपके खाने में थोड़ा सा आयोडीन निकाल लो, देखो क्या होता है. आपके खाने में थोड़ा सा there is Galaxy 17.
Yeah, I muted.
Okay, got that. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. So we are talking of that. Galaxy J7.
Yeah, please keep muted, otherwise I'll take you out.
And I think that is the reason why there is a echoing, right? Yeah. Okay. So what you see here is these 23 pairs of chromosomes, and in each pair, one chromosome from mother, other from father. And if you just look at that from end to end, here I'll just get the marker to show you something.
So what you see here is
Galaxy J7, please. Yeah.
Okay,
So if you just put, for example, you hold this chromosome at this end and this end, you pull it apart, you will see it's a very long thread of DNA. And the language of DNA is here. You can see here there are only 4 letters, natural letters. what we call as adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine, A, T, C, and G, only 4 letters nature has used to write whole life on the planet, including yours and mine. Including other animals, including plants, including microbes and everything, only 4 letters. Using those 4 letters in a very specific way, nature has created the whole of what we call as life on this planet. Living world. If I take all your chromosomes out, pull them apart one by one this way, you'll see there are very long threads, and on this, from this end to that end, there is a very specific sequence of these 4 letters only. And on this long thread of DNA, maybe here there is one small segment where there are thousands and thousands of letters in a specific way, and this is responsible for making a protein. I call this as gene. Here is one, maybe here is another one, maybe here is another one. And on all these 23 pairs of chromosomes, now we know there are 21,300 such segments on this DNA, which are making our proteins and which are responsible for making who we are as a human beings. I'm referring that you to you, that you refer when I ask you who you are, to remind you again. What I'm talking here is this DNA thread. There are segments, and in between these segments, there is a lot of DNA where these 4 letters are there only. We really don't understand a lot of it so far. These segments which we make meaning of and which we know they make proteins are what we call as genes. Today we are talking about those segments. So imagine just one example I will be giving you. That we all have the red blood cells, one type of cell, right? In our body, there are about 220 different types of cells. Red blood cell is one, and the function of red blood cell is capturing the oxygen from our lungs, carrying it from the lungs to the all cells of the body, delivering that oxygen, then catching the carbon dioxide from all the cells, carrying it to the lungs and giving it out. So there is a protein called as hemoglobin, which is there in the red blood cells. This hemoglobin does that job. And there are genes on these chromosomes which make those hemoglobins. There are different molecules of hemoglobins. There are genes making. Genes means the DNA segments making that. If there is some error in that gene, the protein hemoglobin in the red blood cells is defective, and then it cannot carry enough oxygen from our lungs to our tissues. We call that disease as thalassemia. There are different types: beta thalassemia, alpha thalassemia, and many other types. Maybe most of you are aware of that. If a child is born with thalassemia, the child needs to be given blood every 1 or 2 months if you want the child to survive. Regularly you have to give the blood. And if you don't give, the child might not survive. And if you give blood, even if the child survives, there is a lot of compromise in life. There are a lot many complications subsequently. One of the problem caused because of change, a little change there in the gene. This is one gene where on a specific segment of this DNA, it is written how to make hemoglobin. And so common. In India, all over the world, but in India specifically, because it is said to be one of the very common genetic conditions in India. There are so many such. And you know how many genetic diseases are there? So far reported in literature, there are about 6,000. And some of them are so clear that you can't talk about the environment. There is no role. It is this, and this is the result. Let me give you one example again. So we are going to come that subsequently, but then at this moment. How many of you have heard of the disease called as Duchenne muscular dystrophy? Anyone? Anyone on this webinar? Nobody, right? But you know how many babies are there in the world right now having that one condition? This is one of the yes, Ajay Lanjewar, thank you so much. This is one of the 6,000 conditions. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is very common. It happens only in boys. The child is born absolutely fine and normal. And then you see absolutely fine and normal in a sense, the baby is absolutely fine and normal. He walks, talks, and it does everything intellectually perfect. But then after the age of 3 to 4 years, the child starts having muscle weakness. He falls down, he can't run, and then he even can't walk, and then he sits and he can't get up. Then he is sleeping, he can't sit. He has to be chair bound by the age of 10 to 12. By the age of 20, his heart stops and no further life. Whatever we have done so far in this condition, we could extend the life to 25 in some of the cases. Where the gene responsible for making a protein, dystrophin, which is responsible for our movements. So whatever we do, we move from one to other, or we move something from one to other place. This happens because of the movements of the muscles, and in the movements of the muscles are happening because of the protein, dystrophin, and that is happening because of the gene, dystrophin. This is the longest gene we have in our human genome. This is just to give you a sense of what we're talking. Genes, you and your genes. And this way there are 21,300 genes. With this basic understanding, let us go to something else. So we are talking of this. Here I'm, in this image it is shown after the baby is born till death, right? Till you get old. But then this is, in reality, the moment it begins as a single cell inside the mother's womb, and the moment you just are no more, the assembly starts disintegrating, complete disintegration. All those atoms which are assembled so well for so long won't take few minutes to disassemble completely. We are talking of that. And we are talking... Tushar?
Yeah, muted.
Yeah. We are talking of that script which is making it happen, moment to moment. We are not talking of something else. We are talking of the person who is sitting in your chair right now. How come he is sitting there? What is going to happen next? How long is that going to happen? How many turns you are going to make around the sun? Till that moment when that disassembly is going to disassemble, disintegrate completely. We are going to talk, is there any access to find out where it is written? And is there anything that we can do about it? That's a question that we really want to answer, right? We simply don't want to answer what is in. Why are we interested in that? Because we really want to know if it is so, if that is so, how is there any access? Do I have any access to that? And can I do something about it? If it is written there 70 years, can I make it 100? Can I make it 150? Can I make it 1,000? Can I make it infinite? Isn't the question that you are interested in? Isn't the answer to that question you are interested in? Most of you must have read the message, which very commonly on the media is becoming viral. By the year 2045, you will have a choice to die or not to die. How much is the reality? So I get very regularly, I'm getting these messages from the known people. So doctor, what is your opinion? Is this going to be real? So every one of us is interested, right? No one wants to die. And what we are looking at is that. So with these basics, I'll just give you some glimpse of what is happening in the world right now, and then we can have the question answers. I would be more interested in the questions answers rather than what is happening there in the world of medical genetics. So I'll not go in details of this slide. You can just see here there are a number of cells, every cell. So trillions of cells. This body is made up of trillions and trillions of cells. And in every cell, the whole thing, the whole story of your life is written. That is what we're talking. That story is in the form of those 23 chromosomes, where there are 21,300 genes. But every cell which is specialized has got some of its own genes which are on, all other genes switched off. If you get that much, as an example, if I just pick up one of the hair, in the root of that, there are cells which make the hair, which know how to make a hair, but they don't know how to do beating like the heart cell. But there are genes inside that cell also, inside that hair cell. So there are genes where it is written how a cell can beat, but those are switched off. And only those genes which know how to make a hair and the protein to make a hair, that is keratin, that gene is on. And this is how it is. And there are trillions of cells. And the cells are continuously getting replaced. Some of the cells in our body, which are once formed in our, either before we are born inside the mother's womb or after we are born, after some time, once they are formed, they are there. They are not replicating on a regular basis. Whereas the rest of the other cells like blood cells or the surface cells, skin cells, bone cells, they are continuously being replaced. Millions and billions of cells, they are dying and getting replaced. Now, what makes you unique? Are you unique? Is the first question. Do you believe you are so unique, never happened? In this universe, so we are not talking on this planet. We are not talking about your city or your home. We are talking of in the whole universe. So far, we were talking about that there are people on this planet, 7 people who look alike. But that was you can say hearsay. We were saying that the twins are exactly the same. That was scientifically we were saying. But now we know twins are again not the same. There are its own reasons, genetic as well as non-genetic. We can talk about that later. What I really want to give you the message is, believe me, you never happened on this planet earlier. You never are going to happen again. Celebrate each and every moment. Each moment is so precious, and that is what life is all about. And that is what is written in that script. Maybe there is written a lot and you don't understand and you don't use that. But what you can do at least is be in the present and use that. Use that uniqueness that you are. Don't compare with anybody else. There is no one to compare. This is a message that I really give through this particular talk to the students who visit me or in talks. As I said, like we all are so lucky, and so yeah, so it's to be celebrated, right? What if God makes a mistake? So in those 2 books, Egg and Sperm, on this planet, every moment there are billions and trillions of them are being formed. Every day in a man, there are millions of formed in a man, sperms, which carry the genetic material, and each is unique, believe me. In a woman, throughout her reproductive period, every month at least 1 egg on an average is ovulated out. So about 400 to 500 eggs in her reproductive time. Each is unique. What I mean by unique is the script contained in is unique, never to be repeated again. And such unique egg and sperm has united to form you, the creation that you are so beautiful. And of those eggs and sperms, there are so many where there are errors, because when they are being formed inside the mother and a father to be, errors happen. That's nature's way. And when errors happen, and when such conceptions happen, and when such babies are born, this is what can you see? You can see there are 6,000 different such conditions. As I said, thalassemia or Duchenne muscular dystrophy, these are the gene examples, right? What can happen if one of the chromosome is more or less? Like, for example, I have Pramod introduced me while introducing, he said about Down Syndrome Care Association. I am right now supporting about 600 families of having child with Down syndrome. So what is there? One extra chromosome is there. Normally there have to be 23 from mother, 23 from father. Where in this child with Down syndrome, there is one extra, 21. Out of, instead of 2, there are 3 copies. And the extra third chromosome, so that's a chapter in a book, extra chapter. It causes problem with all the systems, all the cells in the body. Since beginning to death, the life is having something less than normal in a biological sense, in a potential sense. That is one of the conditions which is caused by chromosome. There are so many, as I said, 6,000 different conditions. You are so lucky. Not only lucky that you got the right genes, but you are lucky that you are born in this world where you know why you are the way you are. Where you know, is there something that I can do about it? Where you know that there is a possibility to live longer. There is a possibility to live healthier and happier. So this is what I'm dealing with. What if God makes a mistake? So as a geneticist, this is what I do. In my practice, anything that has to do with inheritance, that has to do with fertilization, that has to do with continuity of life before birth, that has to do with the normality and abnormality at birth, that has to do with normality and abnormality even after birth till death. What I mean to say is, I'm dealing with patients on a regular basis who come to me either because they have some problem in saying either that they are male or female, or there is some you can say precociousness, or there is ambiguity, or they are not having that kind of sense. They are worried about a disease being inherited because they see there is something there in the family. They are married and they are not having a child. A lady is having a recurrent miscarriage, the conceptuses are lost. Recurrently, she is aborting. Or the babies are being born and they are having congenital malformations like these babies. Or the baby is born and is mentally retarded or physically retarded or socially retarded. Or there is ambiguity, sexual. Or you can see the baby is either too tall or too short, or too obese or too thin. Or people get cancers, or people get diseases which are not expected, like we all are aware, Alzheimer's, Huntington's, different kinds of cancers. And you know how much percentage it is? Simply because this field was new, this field is new still to most of the population. At birth, about 5 to 6% of people or babies born have some or the other genetic abnormality which can be detected today. And if you look at the spectrum, since conception to death, we can pinpoint more than 60 to 70% of life forms. I'm talking of the spectrum from beginning, that conception to death. 60 to 70% of the life forms which begin, they have some or the other genetic problem. You are so lucky that you are alive and normal. So I'll skip some of the slides. This is what we do. So what is happening in the world of genetics, especially medical genetics, because I am a medical geneticist. So in the world of biology, whether it is agriculture, microbiology, whether it is biotechnology, whether it is animal, veterinary sciences, whether it is human sciences, everywhere, we are looking at. So the first thing I'll tell you, this is something very, very important. Last year, I had been to Chandigarh for a 2-day workshop, and the scientist there was telling me, "Doctor, you just leave your practice now and come to us, and we'll tell you something where you will earn not only a lot of money, but a lot of fame and name." So what was he talking about is, right now in the world, we are trying to find out what is written in the books of all the life forms. What I mean to say is genomes, like human genome. So what is the life of human? We decoded that in the year 2003. That was Human Genome Project. Maybe that you all know about it. In the year 2003, for the first time, we came to know about the language God has used to write human life. That was a statement of the then president of USA, Bill Clinton. And then thereafter, we started analyzing the genes and the DNA of all the life forms one by one. And huge data is being created. Now we are analyzing people from regions, different regions, and how they are different from one another. Why some people are having corona and why not others? Even someone is having corona, positive, he's having the virus and he's not having any symptoms. How come? Is there something in there in the script? in the script of that person. That is what we are trying to find out. And likewise, we are trying to find out what is written in the whole universe, what is written about life, including the microbes to humans, and can we use that for our betterment? That is what we are looking at. Huge data is being generated, and we are trying to investigate and analyze what it really means for us. And there are amazing discoveries happening. That is what he said. You come there, and there are so many possibilities of creating patents and creating, you can say, like, creating the world which is not existing. Right now, what are we doing in the world of medical genetics? This is what I have written. So we are doing chromosomal testing. I can take a drop of your blood and give you your chromosomes within 5-7 days. I can take a drop of your blood and screen if there is any history of genetic disease in our family, whether you are having that gene and whether you are likely to have a child with that gene disorder. I can screen all your genes. Not only that, I can see all your DNA from end to end. That is what we call as a book of life. Everything written in. So we can do chromosomal testing at various levels to look at if there is any abnormality. We can look at the specific genes when there is an indication. We can do the specific gene panels testing. We can do whole gene panel testing, or we can do the whole DNA sequencing. These are the tests happening in medical genetics right now. That is what I do in my practice. So when a patient comes to me, they come with a question. To address that question, to answer that question, and to give them the solution. What can be done and what cannot be done? How can we make that life happier, powerful, with whatever potential they have, is what my job is, to investigate, to find out, to diagnose, and to tell them what to do, what not to do. So that's what happening. That's what is happening there in the world of medical genetics at a diagnostic level. In a therapeutic level, we are trying to find out whether we can create the genes and we can deliver the genes which are defective or missing. That's the world of gene therapies, genetic therapeutics. And that is where we are expanding now. There are gene therapies coming in. Apart from this, as I said, we can do the diagnosis. You can see here on this side, there is a lot of list. Diagnostic testing, the one who is affected, we can diagnose it. Carrier genetic testing to know whether you are carrying some gene defect and not affected. If you are pregnant and whether the baby is having some disease. If your baby is born, we can screen that baby to find out if the baby is having some genetic disease. And if the baby is born, we can predict whether the baby is going to have some genetic disease in old age. Any of you can be investigated, and we can find out whether you are at risk of having some lethal disease in coming years, and can we do something to prevent it right now. We can even look at which drug is to be prescribed to which person in what dosage. That is what pharmacogenetics is. And that depends on how different we are from one to another. And then we are looking at cancer genetics. We can diagnose cancers very precisely with gene testing, and we can even predict what is likely to happen with the treatment that we are giving. So it has got a very precise diagnostic and prognostic value. And then we are talking of therapeutic genetics. These are the scenarios where medical genetics is offered. So before the couple, before the girl and a boy are getting married, they can find out whether they are compatible genetically in having a healthy child. We are providing this service nearly in all those marriages where they are talking of marriage in blood relation, and even in those families where they really are interested in finding out whether they are at risk. So these are the different scenarios: infertility cases, prenatal cases, there is a baby inside and they are at risk, paternity disputes. So I often get calls from mothers or the parents, the father's side, and they're having a doubt about the mother, that the child, whether the child belongs to this particular man. So paternity issues, very common concern world over. So we can find out exactly who is the father and who is not. Paternity disputes or even identity crisis, like You must be aware that in most of the situations where the natural calamities happen, people die in millions, and we are unable to find out who is who. And in settlement of the claims and even identification of the bodies for the families, and to declare whether somebody is alive or dead, identification, biological identification, that can be done with the DNA testing, what we call as DNA fingerprinting. So anything and everything that has to do with who you are as a biological structure and function can be addressed. This is what is happening there in the world of medical genetics. What is the future? So there are so many things that I can tell you, but then I think without me speaking on this, it is better that we have questions. Let me just go through the slides, just look at the slides, and if you have any question, we can address those. I think the time is already 8. So here I'm talking of sexual reproduction and selective breeding, pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. Most of you are aware of the test tube babies and how the babies are created in the lab and how we have the opportunities to manipulate the genes. Now we have the opportunity to have a baby from 3 parents. The 3-parent babies you can see here. So that happened a few years back there in London. Then the world of organ transplantation, we know what is happening right now. Organ can be transplanted, and they're happening from the brain dead people to those who are alive and having the organ damages. But then now we're talking of creating the own organ, the organ of your own cells in the laboratory. We're talking of the technology called as induced pluripotent stem cell technology. So taking out your own body cells, creating your own stem cells, and the cells of any tissue or organ. We can cloning is what you are aware of, and maybe this technology is very soon going to be used in a number of areas. I'm talking particularly about the therapeutic cloning, not the reproductive one. Predictive testing, that you all are aware, we can predict the diseases. Here is an example of the lady Angelina Jolie, the most beautiful lady in the world that time, and she removed both her breasts and ovaries. You know, her beauty is removed physically because she had that gene which her mother had and which her mother's mother had, and both of them had the cancers and they died at early ages. Angelina didn't want to die. She removed the breast and ovaries. And this is what we can do for a number of genetic inherited diseases. We can identify whether you are going to be at risk, whether you are at risk, and what can be done to prevent, what can be done to avoid, what can be done to extend life. We're talking of gene therapies. We are talking of, most of you must be aware of the CRISPR-Cas technology which is coming in. So very soon, number of drugs and products are going to be available there in the market, which will be using to manipulate our genetic scripts. Let me tell you, we are talking of actually rewriting the whole script in days to come. So far, we are only talking about diagnosing, then we are talking of treating the conditions, then we are talking of enhancing specific traits, and then we are talking of rewriting the whole script and creating something new which is not existing. So I think we are having a number of topics, and I can keep on talking on and on. There are so many issues, and I think we have limited time, and it's we have crossed the time. There are a number of such areas, and I would like to stop here and take the questions and answers. Yes.
This is absolutely amazing and enlightening, Doctor. But let's take some questions from Ajay Lanjwar. It says, good start in such difficult situation. Also, you did this. Keep it up. Oh, I just say wishing you.
So, yeah, I would like people to please open your videos. I want to have the real dialogue with you. Please.
So there is one question I'm going to read is, sir, I have a question. If environment has a potential to modify the response of DNA, can this altered response become a permanent and be transferred to further generations?
Yes, yeah, it's a beautiful question. And I think the person who is asking this has something to do with either the Garbha Sanskar or nutrition, or who is studying spirituality or some behavioral sciences. Yeah. So what we have come to know so far with these studies is what you eat, where you live, what you hear, what you think, what you believe, all that have an impact on how your genes respond. I'll repeat this. This is something very critical. There was a time when we were saying in the field of genetics, we were saying everything is written, nothing can be changed. And this is going to happen that way. We have revealed now that what you eat makes a difference in expression of your genes. Let me give you an example. A child born with a disease, what we call as metabolic errors, genetic disease, where there is a problem with the metabolism of what we eat. And as a result, there is a toxin formation inside the body, and the child can die, or the child can be mentally retarded. There are more than 2,000 such diseases. If we identify the factor which is not metabolized properly, and if we remove and replace it with something which can be metabolized properly, the child is absolutely fine and normal. 1. 2. As I said, in that script it is written how much of calcium, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, all those atoms have to be supplied moment to moment for that script to evolve the way you are. That means what are you putting in and how much of that is getting absorbed in is definitely impacting who you are as per the script. But third thing that you need to remember, you can't say that environment is making the genome altogether change. It is not changing. The script is not changing. What is altering is the expression of that to certain extent. As I said, so far we don't have medicines, we don't have treatments to diseases like Duchenne muscular dystrophy. The child is born, a boy is born with that gene defect. No food, no medicine can alter that, and the child is going to die by the age of 20-25. It's written there and it can't be altered. So far, that is the knowledge we have. So the question is so powerful. Actually, the question is so powerful. Though there is a script, though it is written how I should live between this moment to this moment, do I have a choice? That's the question we are asking. Do I have any say in this life? That's the question. And that's why we are talking of what to eat, what not to eat, when to eat, how to eat. That's why we are talking of how much to sleep, how to sleep. That's why we are talking of what to think, what not to think, when to think, how much to think, what to believe and what not to believe, because everything has an impact on the expression. Even you having salivation in response to the cooked food there in your kitchen is nothing but the genetic expression. These are the genes which make that secretion happen. These are the genes which make that sensation happen inside your brain. The biochemical orchestra happening within is controlled by that script. So both things we need to consider. One is there is a script where it is written. Second is, if we really get it, so far whatever we have got, we're talking. If we really get it, where are the controls? That day we are going to become the gods. Our gods are gods, they are limited. They had lived, if we just look at what is written there in the scriptures, they were so limited. Now we have actually become some of the godlike people. What I mean to say is with the abilities that they actually exhibited. With whatever is written there, now we are talking, can we alter that? And the answer is yes. We know how to cut, paste, rearrange, alter. And we are talking of creating even the designer babies We are talking of even living longer. We are talking of where it is written that I'm going to live this long only. And can we alter this so that we are living longer? So if some of you have read the newspapers and the news very recently, last 3-4 days, I think there was a Nobel Prize given for this. Aging is written. So as I said in the slide, one of the slides you must have seen, some of the babies born, they become aged by the age of 10. They look like 100, having all that kind of, they have blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, they have wrinkles.
Your video is frozen and we lost your voice also. It dropped. Doctor, we lost your audio, so maybe just wait, like if you come back. He is diagnosed with symptoms and he's isolated in the hotel. So there is probably a net connection over there. Let me make a call. I think he's reconnecting.
Sorry everyone for getting this disconnection and interruption. Yeah. So I think
So there is another. There was another one more question. One second. It's from Kavita. Can genetic test predict all the diseases?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So the question is, can genetic test predict all the diseases?
Yeah, not all the diseases. We are talking of genetic diseases. That is one thing. Second thing, when we talk of predictability, the level of predictability for different diseases is different. What I mean by that is, for example, if you are at risk of having breast cancer,
Yes. We lost again his audio. I think let's wait again for a few seconds. If he come back, if there is an internet issue, maybe we will ask him to reschedule one more session for us. Just a question answer.
Has yoga, now we have been practicing yoga on this planet for thousands and thousands of years. We have heard of stories and we call those as myths, where people are said to live for thousands of years and thousands of years, but we have never seen that. There are people on this planet right now who are living the life of yogi, but they die because it is written in their script. You can extend it, but how long is a question. Now we are coming to that we have a script, we can read the script, we can alter the script, and we can add something in front of that. Maybe if it is written 70, can I add 1 0 in front of that? That is what we are talking by altering the gene script. Whether yoga has an impact, has that impact on that genome, not in the structure, but in expression, and that is to a certain extent. For cells are given a specific number to multiply. I'll tell you this in another term. When you started, your heart started beating, the first bit and the last bit, there is a specific number in between. Consider this is the biology. This is who you are. A specific number of bits is deposited in your account. And once that is over, it is over. As a yogi, what you are doing is you are just using that number very precisely, very carefully. Being calm, quiet, you are using the number like you are using your mind.
We lost him, probably. Just hold on for a second and then we'll see if we can continue. Doctor, you're breaking. Your video is paused.
Hello.
Yeah. Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So yeah, you can impact. That is, you can impact the expression of the genome to a certain extent. That's for sure.
Okay. So we'll take maybe a couple.
Any more questions, please?
There are a couple more, but I don't want to. I want to be reading for everyone. Can autoimmune disease be cured with gene therapy? Hello.
Pramod, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay. Can autoimmune disease?
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible, doctor?
Yeah.
Can
You are now.
Can autoimmune disease be cured with gene therapy?
So as I said, gene therapy right now is not available in the market on a regular basis. Whatever is happening, that is happening on trials. And you might find gene therapy in coming years available in market for nearly all the diseases, including even the infections. Are you getting me? Can you hear me, Pramod?
Yes.
Yeah. So when we are talking of gene therapy, we are talking of actual gene manipulations or the products of genes which are treating the diseases, either genetic or non-genetic or combination of genetic and non-genetic. It includes the autoimmune diseases also. So in coming years, we might expect that to happen. Right now, in my knowledge, there is no gene therapy product in the market for autoimmune diseases.
Okay. So there is one next question is, are there any tests available to identify the mortality age? Are they generally available or restricted by local policies?
Yeah. So actually, we don't have any test right now which can tell you how long you are going to live. Okay. So, looking at your pedigrees, so we are talking of that you are not dying by accident, you are not dying by you are a natural calamity. How long you are going to live? That's a question actually. And for now, we tell you exactly in numbers so many years you are going to live. What we can predict is what is the potential and likelihood of you living longer, and that longevity can be predicted by looking at your pedigrees. As a test, yes, we can look at some of the genetic markers which can predict if you are likely to die early. As I said, for some of the diseases, that's for sure. But then looking at on an average life on this planet of the human being at different places, we can definitely say how long you can live if you are not dying by the circumstances. You are living as a biology and you are using all those factors which can impact your genome in a positive way, like your diet, like you're thinking, like you're sleeping, like exercise and all kinds of things. It is possible to in certain cases by looking at the errors, genetic errors. Yeah.
Yeah. And there is next question is, does CRISPR
Yeah.
technology can stop transferring genetics defects, disease like diabetics, cancer, or next generation?
Okay. Yeah. CRISPR-Cas9 technology is actually meant to alter the errors or alter the genome, whether it is error or not an error. If you want to alter some sequence, you can do that by using the CRISPR-Cas technology. Now, if we use the technology in the child which is born in the body cells, not in the germ cells, it will remain to that person only. But if we use that in the embryo or in the gametes, that is sperm and egg, like you must have heard of the CRISPR-Cas technology being used in China 2 years back. There was a birth of the designer babies. 2 designer babies were born where the scientists actually used CRISPR-Cas in the test tube baby laboratory to manipulate the genome and make those embryos resistant for getting impacted by HIV. So this is for a specific gene. Now we are talking of, can we do that for enhancing our abilities? Can we use that for preventing the inheritance of the diseases? For preventing the inheritance of the diseases, right now I am doing so many things. What I'm doing is, in the test tube baby laboratory, we can check the embryo, whether the embryo is having defective gene. If it is not, we can use that. If it is having, remove that embryo. Once a lady is pregnant, we can test that, find out at the earliest in the first 3 months whether the baby is actually having the gene disease. If it is, we can terminate that pregnancy legally everywhere in the world. And if it is normal, we can continue. There is no problem. The baby is not going to have any time. That is what we do. But then by using the CRISPR-Cas technology, by altering the genome, yes, this is used in China last year, and there was a lot of cure that happened there in the world throughout. And it is likely that we are going to use this in coming years to enhance our abilities. Yeah.
Thanks, Doctor. There's a list of questions coming in. Excuse me if I say it wrongly, is heterochromia a genetic disorder? Can it transfer from parents to offspring?
Yeah. Heterochromia is a known genetic condition and it can be transmitted. Yes.
Okay. Isn't there will be a threat of competition of creating artificial intelligence through the gene therapy?
It is already there.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence, in a sense, like for example, when we're talking of intelligence, what are we talking about is sensing the environment perfectly, interpreting it as it is, and then responding to that so as to get the appropriate results in the least possible time. That's what we say is intelligence. So getting the data, analyzing it the way it is meant to be, and responding to the surroundings is a function of transmission of information from one to other place. And artificial intelligence is all that about. As artificial intelligence technology is enhanced, that technology might surpass the human intelligence when we talk of the intelligence as this ability. Whereas the intelligence as humans that we talk of, the intelligence which is coming from within the heart, the emotions, the feelings, and the wisdom overall, that cannot be surpassed by the artificial intelligence, is what the prediction is what we can say about it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
There is another question. Cellular nutrition and good protein, vitamin and mineral fatty acids from food as much as required can be useful for good height. What are the modifiable factors for common genetic disease like specific down, thalassemia, Sikhi, and asthma.
Yeah. So actually, I didn't get what the the person is asking. But then what I could gather from this is there in a relation of the food and the life? That is what it is, right?
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
we
So that's very simple.
the next one also.
So
There's so many sitting.
whether you are normal or abnormal genetically or otherwise, your food has to play a role. There is no doubt about that, and that doesn't require any science. It is there.
Can we find out the skin disease from the genetics or genes?
Yes, number of them which are genetic. Genetic in a sense, like fungal infection we know is environmental, and if you are having dampening on inside and outside your body, the fungus can grow. If your immunity is down, your fungus can grow. That's what is environmental, right? Outside. But then genetic diseases which are happening because of the script, the genes inside the cells. For example, I'll tell you, there is a condition called as epidermolysis bullosa. The child is born and the child has got the swelling, you can see very small balloons all over the body, and there is a fluid accumulated in that. Some of them are so severe that the baby cannot survive even few days. Some of them are so mild that the baby will survive because it is on a very small part of the body. We can test that. We can prevent that. There are a number of genetic conditions which happen, which express in the skin, like ectodermal dysplasia, epidermolysis bullosa. There are so many of them. Hair, teeth, nails, skin is involved. And by looking at the child or the person having that, we can predict whether it is likely or not genetic in origin, whether it is inherited or not, whether it is likely to be inherited, whether it is likely to be managed or not. That is what we do in genetic counseling and testing. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, doctor. There is one more question. Fortnight ago, this person's mother left him and the family. She had been diagnosed with a congestive heart failure, uh, heart problem pumping 20%. When I look back in her family, I suspect running in her blood. Alarmingly curious to know about genetic cause to heart disease. Like, is
Pramod, I'm sorry. There is a breakage in voice. I couldn't get everything what you spoke.
I will read little bit. This gentleman wants to know, curious to know about genetic cause of a heart disease.
Okay. So what's her age?
She passed away, and then I think what he's mentioning is her heart was pumping only 20% of the time. 20% only heart pumping. Your voice is breaking.
Hello.
Your voice is breaking a lot.
Hello, sir. Now, am I audible?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sir, now I'm 42 and I'm quite sound, good in my health, but I'm apprehensive whether my mother has passed that gene of heart failure to me or not. How to check it?
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Pramod?
Yeah, I can hear you. He was actually, can you repeat this?
Okay. No worries. Here is a network issue. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm not able to hear you properly.
Okay, let me repeat again this question.
Yeah, please.
Is there a genetic cause of a heart disease?
Okay. So when we talk of heart disease, there are two things we're talking. One is either it is congenital from birth. Other is it happens after you are born and maybe it is genetic or non-genetic. These are two different things. So non-genetic in a sense ki if you are having, for example, you are a drunkard, you are drinking on a very regular basis heavily, and that is impacting your liver and that is impacting your circulation, or you are someone who is heavy smoker and that is compromising your lungs and that is compromising the blood flow in the lungs, or you are having some impact in your circulation somehow, it is impacting your circulatory system. So that also can lead to congestive cardiac failure, what we call heart failure. Even if it is not genetic, the surrounding is impacting the circulation and it is causing the heart to compromise. It causes the circulation to get congested. That is what congestive heart failure is. The heart fails to pump the blood because there is a lot of pressure in the surrounding and the heart is unable to pump it and suddenly it gives way. Another thing is there is a basic inherent problem with the heart itself or the circulatory system itself. Inherent problem in a sense, the vessels are getting narrowed down slowly to an extent where the heart cannot pump blood. And that is happening because of hypercholesterolemia, excessive cholesterol. And excessive cholesterol is because of the gene problem. Or maybe your heart is having what we call as the myopathy, or maybe your heart is having maybe, for example, the heart defect. There may be some hole or prolapse in the wall, which is congenital. It could be genetic also, it could be non-genetic also, and that has to be evaluated in a specific. We do that by testing, by analyzing the family, by analyzing the pedigree, by taking the history, and then doing the testing. Yes.
Okay, the next question is, does telemore having any impact on... Hello, can you hear me, doctor? Hello.
Yeah, please.
So the next question is, does telemere...
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Does telomere having any impact on gene expression? Telemore, Telomere, having any impact on...
Doctor, that is telomere. This is Santosh from Hyderabad. Does telomere having an impact on gene expression? And also, as well as, does telomere will be shortened over a period of the cell divisions during the growth of human being?
Hello.
Yes, doctor.
Sir.
Did you get a question?
Hello.
Yeah, did you get a question?
Sir, sorry. So before we go ahead, let me tell you something. Repeatedly, I'm getting his problem in hotel, and there is some problem with the network, and my data is not working well. So I'm getting connected, but I'm not hearing you properly. Can you repeat that again, Pramod?
Does telemore having... Hello, maybe let's move further. There is one more question.
Yeah.
Is Alzheimer genetic?
Yeah, Alzheimer. Before you said something like that, telomere?
Yeah, telomere having any impact on gene expression?
Yeah, telomere is having impact on longevity actually. So if we are looking at how many times your cell is going to multiply, what I mean to say is, consider, for example, in your gut tube or on your skin, the skin cells are continuously being replaced. New cells are being formed. And that decides how long you are going to live. Your heart is beating continuously, and that number is going to decide how long you live. So the number of times the cells can divide is determined by the telomere. Telomere is at the end of the chromosome. There is a segment of DNA which with aging goes on reducing. So we say aging is related with that telomere. And now recently in last 4 or 5 days, you must have heard that scientists have actually extended the telomere in a man. And we are expecting that man is going to live longer, depending on how long the telomere is extended and how many times those cells are going to divide again. Yes, so it has got a definite role in expression of the whole of the genome. Yeah.
Okay, so next question is Alzheimer a genetic? And if yes, is there a solution in near future?
Yes. So Alzheimer is a genetic condition, and it is known. It is inherited, and as far as solutions, there are a lot many trials happening right now in the world of genetics, medicine, and very soon we might find some gene therapy coming in market in Alzheimer's. But already trials happening.
Okay. So,
Hello.
yeah, that's a good news. So
Yeah.
the question is, does telomere shortening can be reversed? Is there any diet or is there any technology? I think we should close now because it's already 1.5 hours and your internet is also getting disconnected. I will just wait for him to come back. Hello. Hello. Can you hear us, doctor?
I hope doctor is not there due to connection problem.
Yeah, probably because he's identified with the symptoms and he's isolated and moved to the hotel. So he has some internet issues there. Maybe we just give him few minutes to come back and then we'll just say thanks to him and end the call.